The nation's morals are like its teeth. The more decayed they are, the more it hurts to touch them. That is a viewpoint from Irish literary critic, playwright, and essayist Judge Bernard Shaw. At a recent conference, it was observed that, and I quote, "The scale, scope, and complexity of exam malpractice and its mutation into organized crime enterprise pose great dangers for education, national development, and security, if not curbed. That combating the scourge requires inclusive interagency collaboration." End of quote. Now, how morally evolving is our society today? What are the intrinsic values we hold dear when we are faced with the true examination of life? Be it in the classroom, workplaces, or anywhere we think our true worth is to be tested. Am I sounding philosophical? Now, let's get to share some salient views with my guest in the next half hour. He is a critical stakeholder in this area. Maybe that will help put some things in perspective for further consideration. Welcome to this week's edition of the program On the Spot. My name is Blessing Abu. My guest is an educationist par excellence. Now, I would like to welcome on the spot this week the founding chairman, Exam Ethics Marshals International. He's also the coordinating consultant, Safe School Compliance Study Group. I'd like to welcome to the program, Onyechere. MFR, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. For you, education is something you breathe, you live, and to now add this part about making people ethically upright, it is something key for you. Protection of integrity of education. Why is this imperative for you and for everyone you have been reaching out to? Really?
Yeah, I think it is very fundamental because that is where everything starts. All of us, every person in every sector, whether it is in public sector, private sector, religion, politics, journalism, wherever, you pass through an educational system. And that educational system prepares you both in character and learning. It more or less is an indoctrination kind of exercise. Okay. So what happens in that process is very critical. And that is why we think that if the educational system deviates from being a center of excellence to being where you plant the seed of fraud and corruption in the fertile mind of youth people, is very dangerous. And for me, that explains why one of the reasons why we have pervasive corruption in this country. Every sector, if you look at it, from religion to politics to even the marketplace and so on. Because for me, it is because we come from a common denominator, which is our educational system. Our educational system has been more or less criminalized. You understand? Through examination malpractice, all sorts of corruption and so on and so on. It's so pervasive that by the time some people are coming out, they're already prepared to be corrupt. Do you understand? And that's also why you don't appear to be making any real progress in the fight against corruption. Because as you catch one person that stole 1 billion naira, you are preparing 10,000 other people looking for a way to even to their own portion to steal. Do you understand? So, if we want to make progress morally, ethically in this country, we must go back to the education sector.
So is this call to entrench exam ethics back into society, or generally, at least to look into the integrity of education, is it a difficult one at this time?
Oh yeah, it's very, very difficult. Because, for example, it took me almost 7 years to be able to push through the idea that the educational system is a problem. We started the campaign in 1996. It was launched May 1996. And I walked through the education. It took me up till that time to 2003 to push the idea to the National Council on Education. For the National Council on Education to endorse the examinative school to say, this is a problem. Before then, you find people who say, hey, my friend, why are you causing problem? Go and find a job to do. There's no problem. And so you have, if up to today it's still happening, you have a lot of people who have been defensive. But by the grace of God, we've passed that era. Today, there's a general acceptance, there's a general agreement, there is evidence that we have a problem in the education sector.
Okay, so what kind of support are you getting? Because I know you said already from 1996 till
Yes.
date, that's about 23 years.
Yes, that's 23 years, yes.
What kind of support is it receiving at the moment?
Yeah,
Better than when you started?
yes. You see, that's a very good question, because you find all over the years we found out that this kind of support you get depends on the kind of government you have. Yes, if you have an ethics-friendly government, you get a lot of support. Do you understand? Like right now, I can tell you that we're getting a lot of support from the Federal Ministry of Education, because I think the leadership of the education sector, the Honorable Minister and the other leaders in the sector are in tune and in line with the anti-corruption posture of government. Do you understand? And that is very critical. So, and that is where it all starts. If that support doesn't come, you really cannot do much. Because I've had situations in the past when there's a change of government, and I go to the minister, I say, sir, this is our project, these are the support we've been getting. I go say, he looked me in the face. I said, Mr. Onyechere, I said, you know what? I want to talk with you frankly. You know that I campaigned for election, for a position. I say yes. And you know that I didn't go through. I say yes. So, I sold 3 houses, I did this, I did that to raise money. And so just give me 6 or 9 months before you come back. And I'm like, why should I give you 6 or 9 months? Say, my friend, I think.
And are you for real?
Yes, are you? So please come back in 9 months' time. Give me a little time. Do you understand? I mean, and of course, you know what that means. So when you have,
What does that mean?
Well, what that means is that look, I spent a lot of money in making election. I've gotten a position for me to recoup a little bit, and you are coming here coming to bring ethics for me as the first proposal you are bringing here. What do you think? What do you think I'm here for?
And such people pass through the education.
Oh yes, yes, and that's. But fortunately for us today, we have a leadership in the education sector, and that is where the interagency collaboration begins.
Okay. Now, for you, let's break them down. What are or where are the sore points in the issue of examination malpractice as pulled out from Exam Ethics International? What are those things you find from the different levels? Just take us through.
It's a very, very complex matter. You understand? Because it's very pervasive. Let me start from the primary school, for example. In the primary school, you find teachers, for example, who now depend on their relationship or how generous the parents are to be able to give positions for the children. You see teachers who, in some even private schools, who write exams, who begin to teach, to tell their pupils, the answer to exams, so that the pupils will pass very well, so that they will become good teachers. You understand? And so on and so on. And that, in fact, that is one of the things I discovered that motivated me into this thing, something that happened in a private school.
Wow.
You understand? Where the best teacher in a private school was the best teacher because she was faking results for the children. The proprietor didn't know, and I discovered it by chance. And so you find teachers that don't teach, teachers that sell things and so on and so forth. And it's complicated because when you find, say, for example, a government that hasn't paid his teachers for 6-9 months, those teachers must survive. And what happens is that they bend the rules. Now, when you come to secondary school, the matters become worse. Because there, you also find a situation where, to start with, if you're talking about science subject, you talk about something like alternative to practical, where, for example, you are taking physics, chemistry, and so practical, and there's no reagents that are in lab, and you are asking people objective questions, and when they pass it, or you show them cockroach, what's the color of cockroach? You have passed biological practical.
That's fraudulent.
Yes, that's class action fraud. Do you understand? But we do it, and I say that. And then, of course, you find, and that is the most dangerous thing in the secondary school sector. In the public exit exams like SSC and so on and so on, you find that the supervisors have gone rogue. Do you understand? They go into this. They go. A lot of them, not all. There are good ones. A lot of them will collect money from the candidates to allow them to cheat. Some private schools will, base their performance on the fact that they will help their students to pass. And so you find students who do from JS1 to SS2 in one school, and they now move to another school to do SS3, where it will be easy to cheat, where the principal, the school proprietor, the examiners, every person is criminal. That's why I say it's an organized crime, where the ring is complete.
Wow.
So, but if you come to, just to mention one thing in the tertiary education, you come to tertiary, I don't want to start talking about Yamba.
In fact, that's a
that's right. But take the tertiary education, and you want to make accreditation. For example, accreditation of whether a school is qualified to be a university, or whether they have the position, whether they have the material to do a course of medicine and so on and so on. And you assemble professors. For example, from the institute, about 6 or 7 professors, they go and look at this situation. Is it qualified to be a university or a polytechnic, or do they qualify to do this? They will go and cook up the result. They will go there, they collect money, and they'll just write a report. Say
so
it's okay.
It's an organized.
Oh yes.
From primary through to tertiary.
Exactly.
That's a serious one.
Exactly.
We're going on a break now, Onyechere. When we return, we'll take a look at some of the engagement you've been holding with interagencies, as well as what's your recent conference is taking a look at to actually deal with the social malaise.
Thank you.
It's a very big one for us. You're watching NTA News 24, and the program is on the sports. I have the founding chairman, Exam Ethics Marshals International, on the sports today. We'll be right back after this break.
Advertising your goods and services on the right channel gives you an edge over your competitors. NTA News 24 has all the platforms for your target audience. The station is on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46, StarTimes channel 101, and Free TV channel 703. With our digital format and wide range, we can reach your customers in next to no time. We are eager to promote your business, goods, and services. So partner with us for a very rewarding business experience. For more information, please call Henry on 0803-379-0884 or visit our office at NTA Headquarters, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. NTA News 24. News and more news.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, the program is on the sports, and we're taking a look at examination ethics and the place of national security. And that is with my guests, Onyechere. Now, so Onyechere, let's take a look at some of the engagements. I noticed there are some big collaborations this time around, yes. Not just within the country, outside the shores of Nigeria too. Why is that expedient for us to take on?
Yeah, it's expedient because we have all come to the conclusion that there is a problem and that there's a challenge. And the fact that we must all come together to be able to deal with this challenge, because we are beginning to see the effect and the impact. To start with, we come to the realization, and every person has accepted that realization, that no single agency, no single government, no single institution can deal with exam malpractice at the level it has reached.
Especially when you call it an organized crime.
Oh yeah, so every person must come together. Do you understand? So, like you said, one of our most recent engagements is the conference that we organized. And, we did it based on that interagency collaboration framework. And I must say the Federal Ministry of Education played a very good role in that program. We have the exam bodies that came along. We have the anti-corruption agencies. You understand? We have the regulatory institutions and so on. And we all sat there for 3 days.
What kind of voices resonated here? What were they saying?
Oh, it was frank discussion. Every person, there was no attempt to sweep anything under the carpet. Do you understand? Every person was saying the truth as he knows it, as he relates. In fact, one of the most important presentations came from National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools.
Okay.
Their general secretary, they came with a position paper, And we were all there, we were all expecting them to say, no, you people are accusing private schools wrongly and so on and so forth. But the paper, in summary said, yes, there's a problem. Some of our members are complicit. You understand? We are not here to say they are not complicit. But as a policy, we NAPS as a policy, we believe in exam ethics. In fact, it's in our constitution. But we have rogue ones. But it is not only a problem of private schools. It is a problem, even public schools, even religious schools, even schools owned by, security agencies. They're all involved. After all, some of these exam bodies that are also government agencies. Do you understand? So it was a frank discussion. And I think we achieved a lot of things because at the end of the day...
I actually tied that with the hope that what all these agencies are going to be talking about is to see the threat to, of course, the economy as well as the security, national security. Yes. What is this malaise doing to us as a society in terms of national security?
In terms of national security, it's a very serious matter. Because, for example, the exam malpractice has more or less destroyed the education sector. Let me put it that way. And so there's a lot of confidence is no longer there. And you find even some people, you find a lot of people, a lot of stakeholders have said that our graduates are no longer, you can no longer depend on them to deliver, to represent the...
They lack the skills.
Exactly, as explained by their certificates and so on and all that. So you find a situation where a lot of unemployment is being announced, but part of the reason is that most of the people that are unemployed are also unemployable. Do you understand? Because they don't have skills. Yes, you have first class, you have 2-1 and so on and so forth. But you have spent 8-9 years looking for a job. Do you understand? There's something about that. So when it comes to that, then you find people, both lecturers and students, trooping out of the country. Do you understand? You troop out of the country. Now, when you troop out of the country, go through Libya, through all these places where you are leaving the place and so on and so forth. You go to these other countries. At a stage, you now reach a stage where countries are no longer satisfied or they're no longer comfortable with the level of immigration. Do you understand? So they begin to say, look at you as somebody who's coming to take their own resources. Yes. And what do you get? It's xenophobia. You understand? You get xenophobia. South Africa said, look, gentlemen, you have to go home and, this Mediterranean, Italy, no, come and take your people and so on and so forth. They begin to offer you even money to come and take money so that you can go home and so on and so forth. And so when you reach that level, where you have maybe you have a situation, and when international criminal agencies will begin to say, we have organized criminals that are, Nigerian criminal agencies and so on. And what this one, and even our own anti-corruption agencies, will tell you that when you come to say like this scamming or these for advanced fee fraud and so on and forward, what they call them Yahoo boys and so on, many of them are exactly the things we have predicted. When you prepare them, when you plan the seeds of fraud in their minds, instead of planting the seeds of ethical behavior and so on, instead the lecturers will teach them how to do it, and so on and so forth. When they come out, they perfect it. So if you look at all this, if you mix them together, it at the end of the day, it has a national security implication.
And this, of course, says something about this, your presentation too during your conference. You said in service of anti-corruption, war, ideology induction, identity and institutionalization.
That's right.
Yes, this is some of your thoughts.
Yes.
But then we've kind of pushed this out to just the institutions. Is there a place from the home where this is stemming from as well?
Oh, yeah.
How are you taking a look into that?
Well, yeah, you're very correct, because that's why we're also collaborating with the National Parent Teachers Association, with the PTAs. We reach out with the parents, but very unfortunately, the PTA, the National Parent Teacher Organization, they also have their own problems, so they are not working together and so on and so forth. But what we preach is that the parents have a role, because the institution have a role to play, the teachers have a role to play, but the parents have also their own fundamental role to play, which the teachers cannot take, which institutions cannot take. In fact, many institutions are having problems with schools, with parents, with people and students because the parents have failed in their job. You know, some of these parents that are not there, you know, the economic times, every person is chasing money and so on and so forth. And sometimes in some of these cities, you find that, say, you know, maybe the parents are not even there. By the time they come back, the children have gone to bed. By the time they are going and they have not woken and so on and so. You are in a family, but it's strangers.
Is all hope lost, Prof?
No. All hope is not lost because the moment you come to realization, to say, yes, we have a problem and we have to work on it. So that is the beginning. And I think we are at that stage now. We are no longer at the stage of, you know, pointing fingers, pushing blames. We are at the stage that we have a problem we have to collectively work on. So the parents are keying in, the institutions, like if you notice recently, you'll find that there have been, the courts have been more proactive. Okay. There have been convictions. You know, the professor that harassed a student got a 2-year jail term. You know, recently there's another one that involved in malpractice that got, I think, 4 years or 6 years. And I must congratulate the anti-corruption agency, like ICPC. ICPC is focusing on this matter, and they are doing very well. So that is kind of the collaboration I'm talking about, and we're beginning to get results. Okay,
as we go, in just 30 seconds.
Yes.
What charge will you be giving that individual, be it a student or even a worker who will want to engage in something that
I think you are doing it for yourself. It's a matter of self-preservation. Today, the buildings that are collapsing and killing people are done by people, exam malpractice people. The nurses and doctors that are killing people out of avoidable errors are products of exam malpractice. So you don't know who it is tomorrow. Who is going to be the victim of exam malpractice tomorrow? Well, it may not. You don't know. It may be you. It might be me. It might be, even if not you or me, it might be your relation. Do you understand? Because you don't know where you will be. You don't know the hospital you will go. You don't know. You will depend on these professionals who give us a certificate. The most important thing that you have to realize, when you give these certificates and licenses for people to perform, and you give your lives, and businesses allow them, when they are committing these things, you don't have the power. You are giving them the license. You can't stop them. You can stop an armed robber on the road. You can stop a murderer and so on the road. But a licensed assassin through exam malpractice, you can't stop him.
You certainly cannot stop. But I must stop for this interview now. All right. So On the Spot has been the founding chairman, Exam Ethics Marshals International, so coordinating consultant, Safe School Compliance Study Group, Onyechere, MFR. Thank you very much for coming on The Spot.
Thank you.
Wish you and your team a fruitful time, even as we battle to send this millage out of the society.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. On The Spot returns next time with another interesting guest as well. My name is Blessing Abu. Goodbye.